Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We are back again with more Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Let's get into Rogue, the class that specializes in being sneaky and shady. We have already reviewed these mechanics in my 25 base class mechanics video. That is linked in the description below. Overall, I rank this class a B. It's still solid, but there are a lot of other classes that do rogue things better than Rogue does. The first archetype is Eldritch Scoundrel. You lose light armor proficiency, which is irrelevant because you should be casting mage armor and other spells on yourself to make yourself more tanky. You also lose 4 rankings of sneak attack, which definitely hurts and causes your attacks to do less damage. You also lose 5 levels of rogue talent, which is a massive sacrifice and deeply harms this class. Finally, you also lose Uncanny Dodge and Improved Uncanny Dodge, which is another big sacrifice that makes this class less tanky. In exchange, you get 6 levels of a wizard spellbook, and your casting attribute is Intelligence. This is fantastic because now you can cast spells like Mirror Image, Blur, and Displacement to make yourself significantly more tanky even with low AC. Survivability is definitely an area where Rogue lacks, so this is all welcome. It also gives access to some really awesome buffs for your team, like Protection from Arrows Communal, Haste, and Elemental Resistance. You'll also get access to cantrips, which you'll probably never use, but they are still nice to have. Finally, you automatically get the ability to scribe scrolls. This is nice to have, as the class does get access to some spells you might want to have scrolls of, like Haste or the Mass Attribute Enhancement spells. Overall, I give this class an A. It really helps to flesh out the rogue kit, but I think the loss of rogue talents and sneak attack damage are a steep price. Next on the list is Knife Master. You lose trap finding, which I don't see as a big deal because even though perception is awesome, you should have multiple characters who are good at it, so no need for overkill on your main. You also lose all rankings of Danger Sense, which is irrelevant because you should be picking up traps for XP, not stepping over them and trying to resist the effects. In exchange, you get Sneak Stab, which increases your sneak attack damage from D6 to D8 anytime you are using light weapons. Obviously, this is a big deal and lets you annihilate enemies right from the start of the game. Starting at level 3, you get a dodge bonus of up to +6 to AC against attacks from light blades. Again, Rogue is lacking when it comes to survivability, so this increase is welcome even though it applies to a specific set of enemies. Overall, I give this class an A-. I almost rank Rogue a C because I think this is clearly better, but I know some people like to roll a Rogue who doesn't use light weapons. Survivability is still an issue, but Knife Master makes using light weapons a lot of fun. Even more importantly, it gives you a fantastic opportunity to play as Chucky, a vicious serial killer whose soul is trapped inside of a doll. Rare are the times he's not holding a knife covered in blood. Next up, we have Master of All, the half elf only class. You lose 3 rankings of sneak attack damage, which again is deeply impactful. In exchange, you gain Bardic Knowledge, which adds half your class level to all knowledge and lore skill checks. There are a lot of checks in this game, and you want to pass them, so this is cool to have. Starting at level 3, you gain 3 ranks of skill focus, which will significantly increase your rank in one skill. I rank this class an F. Trading damage for more skill ranks is a terrible idea. Yes, it's important to pass skill checks, but not to the point that you should be sacrificing combat effectiveness. Next, we have Rowdy. You lose Weapon Finesse and all 3 rankings of Finesse training, which is irrelevant because you won't be using those types of weapons with this class anyway. You also lose Evasion, which makes you a little less tanky. In exchange, you gain Martial Weapons Proficiency, which is fantastic since it gives you some great weapon options to use with this class. You will also get Vital Force, which adds an additional 2d6 damage per sneak attack dice when using Vital Strike. More damage is a great thing, and you'll be using Vital Strike all the time, so this is awesome. You also automatically pick up Vital Strike, which lets you, as a standard action, make 1 attack at your highest base attack bonus. If the attack is successful, you'll roll the weapon's damage dice 2 times, and add the results before adding your strength modifier and other bonuses. If you have Vital Strike Mythic, the other bonuses get multiplied as well. This means you want high strength and the biggest, baddest weapon possible, so finesse weapons are useless. At level 6, you get Improved Vital Strike, which will roll your damage 3 times. At level 11, you get Greater Vital Strike, which will roll this damage an absolutely bonkers 4 times. Overall, I rank this class in A-. So on the one hand, it's amazing, because using 3 feats for the Vital Strike line is hard for most builds. The issue is that Vital Strike only applies to one target, no matter how powerful you get. If you have a character with a high base attack bonus doing a full attack against 3 characters, when they kill one, they will automatically attack other nearby enemies until the attack bonus is spent. But with Vital Strike, everything is put into that one hit. If you kill an enemy for 4 times the amount of health it actually has, there is no reward, and none of the other enemies are affected. Plus, it's all or nothing, so if you miss, you have to wait until your next turn, whereas with a full attack, if you miss one, you can still wipe out enemies with however many other attacks you have left over. Therefore, I think the further you get into the game, the more the weaknesses of the Vital Strike mechanic show up. It's absolutely a boss killer, but it's not nearly as impactful when facing large mobs, which is what you spend most of the game doing. Also, the rogue already has significant survivability issues, and focusing on strength will make that worse. The other archetypes can focus on dexterity, which in combination with other options can do a better job of shoring up that weakness. Next up, we have Sylvan Trickster. You lose access to rogue talents, and instead you get Fey Tricks, which allow you to take a Hex in place of a rogue talent. Hexes are fantastic, but rogues are focused on damage dealing, so it seems like a poor fit here. There are several fantastic rogue talents, and they let you take an extra feat, so trading them out for hexes doesn't seem like a good choice. In addition, you lose Uncanny Dodge and Improved Uncanny Dodge, which again makes you less defensive. In exchange, at level 4, you gain a +4 bonus to saving throws against spells and spell-like abilities cast by Fae and plants. This is pretty much irrelevant, as none of the truly despicable enemies in this game are Fae or plant. At level 8, you get your first of 5 ranks in Fae Resistance, which gives you additional damage reduction. This is okay, but certainly nothing to write home about. Overall, I give this class a B-. It retains a lot of what makes Rogue good, but adding hexes into this type of class just doesn't make much sense. Next up is Thug. You lose Trap Finding, which again isn't that big of a deal. You also lose all ranks of Danger Sense, which again is irrelevant. In exchange, you get Frightening. Whenever you successfully demoralize an enemy, they are shaken for 1 round. This effect stacks, and if an enemy is shaken for 4 or more rounds, then they become frightened. Frightened enemies flee the source of their fear, which of course is you. This ability is absolutely fantastic. Now, you'll probably see a bunch of people in the comments telling you that this is terrible because fleeing enemies can enter rooms where other enemies are that you haven't met yet. Consequently, you can pull in 2 or 3 fights when originally you only had 1. That's absolutely the wrong way to think about this. You are a thug, which means you should be running with a crew of thugs. Pathetic creatures running from you is expected, and you quickly run them down, stick a knife in their back, and laugh in their ears as they fade away in excruciating pain. In other words, all your melee characters should have combat reflexes, ever ready, outflank, and similar abilities to give you more attacks of opportunity and ensure when enemies try to run, they immediately go down. Your archer should have combat reflexes and snapshot along with its upgrades. Pretty much everything should revolve around wiping out fleeing enemies and then mopping up the rest. In addition to this, you get Brutal Beating, which allows you to trade 1d6 points of sneak attack damage in exchange for making a target sickened. Sickened applies a -2 penalty to several stats, including saving throws, so this can be useful depending on the makeup of your party. I give this class an A. I think it's absolutely fantastic and a ton of fun for an evil playthrough. I did a thug build with the infamous Punisher villain Jigsaw. I'll leave a link for that down in the description. Quick note before we review Underground Chemist. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate you subscribing and hitting the like button. This information tells me which content the channel is enjoying and helps my videos spread to more people. I really appreciate all of the support. Alright, finally let's go over Underground Chemist. You lose 1 ranking of rogue talents, which slightly hurts. You also lose evasion, which makes you a little less defensive, but it's by no means a death knell. In exchange, you get the ability to brew potions while camping. This is useless, because what potions you can brew is determined by what spells you have, and this class does not get any spell casting. At level 2, you get the throw anything feat, and your intelligence modifier is added to any damage done with splash weapons. This is extremely useful when you get it as an alchemist because you have bombs. This class does not get the bomb ability, so you are only able to apply this extra damage when you use one of the alchemical flasks the game lets you pick up. Those do extremely low damage, so this does virtually nothing for you. At level 4, you get precise splash weapons, which let you deal sneak attack damage with splash weapons, but again, this class doesn't get any good splash weapons, so this is useless. Technically, you could take 4 levels of this and then another 16 in Alchemist, but the problem with that is your bombs damage, DC, and the number of them that you get are all tied into your Alchemist level, so it's not really the type of class you want to multi-class with. What does work extremely well is taking the Legend Mythic path and adding 20 levels of Alchemist with 20 levels of Underground Chemist. I'll leave a link to my Geralt of Rivia build where I do exactly that in the description. Moving on, at level 10, a few alchemist discoveries are added to your list of rogue talents. This is mediocre because they mostly give you the ones that revolve around potions and preserve organs. You don't get mutagens or the feral options. Overall, I give this class an F. There's really no reason to take this. That wraps up my rankings for Rogue and all of its archetypes. In summary, I rank Rogue B, Eldritch Scoundrel A, Knife Master A-, Master of All F, Rowdy A, Thug A, and Underground Chemist F. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like, share this content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.